Every year the same cycle. Plant, water, wait, harvest, disappointment. For 25 years I followed every rule in the gardening playbook. Bigger gardens, more fertilizer, more labor. And every season delivered the same result, mediocre yields from exhausting effort. Then I spent time with Amish gardeners. What I noticed was shocking. Their gardens weren't larger. Their tools weren't fancier. Yet they were pulling 3x the harvest from identical space while spending less time fighting problems. I stood beside one of their gardens thinking, how are they doing this? The answer wasn't talent or luck. It wasn't expensive equipment or rare seeds. It was a system built on 3 interlocking principles that almost guarantee bigger yields. Here they are. 1. Soil ecosystem protection. Most gardeners feed plants. The Amish feed soil. When soil is alive, teeming with microbes and fungi, plants access more nutrients, hold more water, and produce significantly larger yields. 2. Strategic crop rotation. Plant the same crop in the same spot year after year and you deplete nutrients, build pest pressure, and exhaust the soil. Rotate and you break pest cycles, rebuild fertility, and keep yields climbing. 3. Dense, vertical production. Single crop beds at 40% capacity is production suicide in small spaces. The Amish stack plants strategically, different root depths, different pest vulnerabilities, different harvest windows. Same footprint, triple the output. These 3 don't work separately. They compound. Get all 3 right and your garden stops being a problem you manage and becomes a system that improves itself every year. Most gardeners think the same way. Problem appears, add a product. Weak plants, feed them. Insects, spray them. Weeds, kill them. The Amish ask a different question. What system is missing? Here's why that changes everything. When you till your soil every season, you're destroying fungal networks that took months to build. When you plant tomatoes in the same spot year after year, you're creating an all-you-can-eat buffet for pests. When bare soil sits exposed, weeds move in immediately. Most gardeners see 3 separate problems. The Amish see 1. A broken system. Modern soil science is confirming what they've known for generations. You're not just fighting weeds or feeding plants. You're either building your soil biology or dismantling it. Every decision either compounds or collapses. This is the foundation. Everything else builds on it. Spread 2 to 3 inches of organic mulch across every exposed inch of soil. Use straw, shredded leaves, aged compost, whatever breaks down naturally. Apply in early spring or immediately after transplanting. For a standard 4x8 raised bed, that's roughly 3 to 4 bales of straw. Leave about 1 inch of bare space around each plant stem to prevent disease. Otherwise, bury everything. Here's what most people get wrong. They apply half an inch and call it done. If you can still see bare soil between the mulch layers, you don't have enough. Bare soil loses moisture fast. It overheats in direct sun. It invites weeds to compete with your vegetables. A thin mulch layer fails at all 3 jobs. A proper 2-3 inch layer. That's your thermal blanket. It keeps soil temperatures stable during heat spikes. It suppresses weeds before they germinate. It slows evaporation so you water less, critical in small spaces where every drop counts. You'll know this is working when the soil underneath stays noticeably cool and slightly damp even after hot days. Fewer weeds. Significantly less watering needed. Noticeably more vigorous growth. Many gardeners are shocked by the results from this one change alone. Some cut watering time in half. Others watch weed pressure collapse. All of them notice healthier, more productive plants. That's because you've just created the foundation that makes everything else possible. Here's the pattern most gardeners fall into. You find a spot where tomatoes exploded with growth. So next year you plant tomatoes there again. It feels logical, organized, but beneath the soil, yields quietly slip. A little less fruit, weaker plants. Then pest pressure builds. Tomato hornworms, early blight, diseases that overwinter in that exact patch. By year 3, you're fighting an uphill battle in ground that used to be productive. The problem is depletion. Tomatoes are nitrogen hogs. Plant them year after year and you're mining the same nutrient reserves. The soil chemistry shifts. The pest ecosystem entrenches. The Amish rotate. Tomatoes this year, legumes next year to rebuild nitrogen, root crops the year after. Different plants have different root depths, different nutrient demands, different pest vulnerabilities. Rotating breaks pest cycles before they take hold. Result: healthier plants, fewer disease outbreaks, better harvests from the same finite space. It's not inefficient. It's the opposite. Single crop beds feel efficient, clean, easy to manage. It's also production suicide in small spaces. A tomato bed sits at 40% capacity for half the season. You're underutilizing vertical space, ground space, and time. Meanwhile, that monoculture, one plant type, same pest vulnerabilities, same root depth, is a highway for infestations. The Amish use strategic companion planting, tomatoes with basil and marigolds, beans interplanted with corn, lettuce cascading under taller plants. Different root systems access different soil layers. Different plant chemistry deters different pests. You get multiple harvests from the same bed across the season. Production density doubles. Pest pressure halves. This isn't ancient wisdom that's charming and impractical. It's applied systems thinking. It works because it's designed to work. Before this shift, I was working harder every season for smaller returns. More garden space, more watering, more problems. Each felt like a separate battle I was forced to fight. My tomatoes produced decent harvests, but nothing close to what that space should have yielded. Everything changed when I started thinking like a systems builder instead of a seasonal firefighter. Here's what the transformation looks like. Week 1-2. Soil stays noticeably cooler and moister. Transplants settle in quickly instead of struggling. Month 1. Root systems explode. Plant growth accelerates. Flowers become consistent, not sporadic. Month 3. Fruit clusters develop throughout the plant. Harvests become regular. This is when the productivity difference becomes impossible to ignore. Year 1, the complete picture emerges. Healthier soil, fewer pest problems, lower water requirements, better yields from the same growing area. You've stopped fighting the garden. Now it's fighting for you. But here's the real magic. The system improves itself. One well-pruned, indeterminate tomato plant, growing vertically in healthy soil, realistically produces dozens of full-size tomatoes over a season. 4 plants in approximately 10 square feet can provide enough tomatoes for fresh eating, preserving, and sharing. My best year was about 140 pounds of tomatoes from just 32 square feet. That's 4.4 pounds per square foot, nearly triple what most gardeners get from the same footprint. But here's the thing. Amish gardeners I've studied consistently outperform that, often hitting 6 to 8 pounds per square foot in year 3 and beyond. The difference isn't secret seeds or special varieties. It's their commitment to improving the system year after year. If you adopt these methods and increase production by 25 to 50% in year 1, that's fantastic. But here's what separates people who quit from people who build consistent abundance. Year 2 typically delivers 50 to 75% increases. Year 3, you're approaching that Amish-level consistency. You're not just gardening. You're compounding returns on the work you've already done. The real power isn't what happens this season. It's what happens when every season becomes better than the one before. That's when you stop thinking about gardening as work and start seeing it as an investment that pays dividends. Most gardeners feel exhausted, pouring sweat and money into a garden that doesn't deliver. You're not alone. And the good news is, the fix isn't more effort. It's smarter decisions. The Amish didn't get legendary yields by accident. They engineered their systems. One technique gives you maybe 20% more production. But stack these 3 together: soil protection, crop rotation, and dense planting, and you're looking at 2x or 3x the harvests in the same footprint. That's the difference between struggling and thriving. Here's what I need from you. What's your biggest obstacle to bigger harvests right now? Is it poor soil that's depleted and exhausted? Pests that destroy everything before you harvest? Limited space that feels impossible to maximize? Not enough time to manage everything? Drop it in the comments. Seriously, your answers directly shape what we build here. If 50 people comment about soil issues, that's the next deep dive. You stumbled onto this video for a reason. You're not satisfied with tiny harvests. You're not okay with spending hours for handfuls of tomatoes. You feel the gap between what you're putting in and what you're getting out. And that gap is fixable if you know the system. Most gardens don't need more products. They don't need another fertilizer or gadget gathering dust in the shed. They need better systems. The Amish figured this out 200 years ago, and it still works better than anything we've invented since. If you want more deep dives into how traditional gardeners maximize production from limited space, subscribe now. Turn on that notification bell. Here at the Garden Workshop, we release new videos every single week focused on one thing, helping you maximize harvests, efficiency, and productivity. No matter how small your space is, whether you've got 50 square feet or 500, whether you're in a backyard or balcony, we build strategies that actually work for your situation. Your garden doesn't need to be bigger. It needs to be smarter. Thanks for spending time with me. I appreciate every single minute you invest in becoming a better gardener. I'll see you in the next one.